Nagasaki bomb. This guy was a 239 plutonium fission bomb. And so when you look at that guy there, we've already talked about that, you have to have supercritical masses in order to create this. So really the big difference between the Nagasaki bomb here is that what they did here is that they took a fissionable. So what you end up doing here is that they did something that was actually created by von Neumann. And I don't know if you've ever heard of von Neumann. Von Neumann is considered one of the smartest people to ever live. He's a Hungarian. And so what they did here is that you have a circle of explosives. And so you could imagine that like right here. And so what these guys are going to do here is that what you have is that you have a uranium, not uranium, a plutonium. So when I look at this guy, what you're finding here is that this time here, let's see, I think I used red last time. So this guy right here is the plutonium. So this is a big ball of plutonium. So in this case here, this is a subcritical plutonium. And so what they did here is that they had these explosives that would then drive this thing in here. So then you would have these explosives. So these are the explosives that compress the 239 plutonium to be supercritical. And when it becomes supercritical, of course, then what you find here is that then you need a neutron source. And so right here is your neutron source. So the explosion goes off, and then you get the production of fission, and then the fission produces an explosion. It's the exact same thing, just a different process. And it turns out that this was more efficient than the uranium gun. So I think I'm not going to talk about this stuff anymore. I think we'll leave it right there. So the question is, these guys release an enormous amount of energy, as we've already talked about. And if we look at the pictures, okay, so if I go back and I look at the pictures, let's say for uranium-235, what are we really seeing here? Well, what we're seeing here is that there's a couple ways to actually look at this way. So let me do this two ways. So how is the energy being released in these guys? So should I talk about this? I mean, we're already this far. We might as well do it right. So where is the energy coming from in the nuclear fission bomb. Well, check it out. It comes from this picture here. This tells us exactly what is going on. So I'm going to do this two ways so that you could see. I think this way might be the easiest way. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is that I'm going to just draw it and see if you think that this is easier to think about it. So here's what we know. Let's look at what we know about one of the reactions that went to fission. So what we know here is that we said that if I look at now the fission reaction, I should be careful. So there's actually 3 fission reactions that occur with uranium-235 going to 236. So one of the fission reactions of 235 uranium is exactly what we've talked about in the past. You send in a neutron, right? We send in a neutron, and then this neutron gets now captured. And as it gets captured, it goes to 236 uranium. And then once it goes to 236 uranium, we see here that this goes to 142 baryon plus 91 krypton plus 3 extra neutrons. Right? Maybe I should say 3 neutrons like that. So the neutrons is not really the important piece. It's really the, if we're going to be looking at the energy, it looks like this here. Now, what you find here is that there's 2 ways that you can look at this thing. So picture-wise, what does this mean? Well, we have a uranium-235 nuclei right here. 236 is right there too, right? So this guy is 235 uranium. When it breaks apart, we know that we're going to get 142 barium, right? So 142 barium, I'm going to say is going to be somewhere around right here. And then I'm going to get krypton, which is 190. So I'm going to say it's about right here. So in this case here, what we're seeing is that this guy is 142 barium. And then this guy is 91 krypton. And then, so they're moving in that direction. They're sliding towards iron 56 because that's the most stable you can be. But there's another way that you can actually look at this thing. So let's look at this thing. This line here at the bottom is the lowest possible energy that anybody can have. So I could talk about this being the bottom and setting because energy doesn't matter. Only differences in energy are the most important thing here. So we can call this 0 right here. Now, I think this is going to be too small. So you know what I'm going to do? I think it's going to be too small. So I'm going to bring this guy down here and just stretch it out because I don't think you're going to be able to see it. So let me bring this down here. Oh no. I think I just. Let me paste that. I really want to make this long so that you could see what I'm talking about. Now let's go back and look at this thing again. So remember the letters are all screwed up here. So here's the bottom. Okay, so this is the bottom. And this is where we're going to set our energy equal to 0. Now remember what we said was we had uranium-235 right here. We have barium about right here, and we got krypton about right there. So once again, we should write this. So this is 91 krypton, 142 barium, and then finally, this is 235 uranium. So we can draw this as a bar diagram. So check this out. If I look at the bar diagram here, I could see that this guy is going to have a bar of about this high right here. So this is going to be the energy of 235. And then if I look at the barium, I can see that this barium is going to have energy about that big right there. Now, I'm going to change the color of krypton. I didn't think about it till right now. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change that to a different color. And let's say that we color this blue. So then I want to change this color to blue here. And so then if I look at the barium energy, the krypton energy, you can see that it's just a tiny bit of energy right there. Let's draw it all out. So if I look at this guy looks like it's about 2 squares. So I'm going to draw it in 4 squares. So when you look at that, look at the height of uranium-235. So this guy is the energy of the 235 uranium. Right? So now I'm going to look at this guy here. This guy, the green barium, is about 1 square. So if I move it over to here, it's going to be roughly about 2 squares. So this is the energy contained in 142 barium. And then look at krypton. Krypton is tiny. It might be half a square at the scale. And one of the things that you see here is, look, this right here is the energy difference. So this is the energy released. And that energy release is the one that's about 230 million electron volts per fission. The energy release is almost the same as the mass of the barium plus the krypton, which is shocking, right? Which is shocking. That's a lot of energy release, but that's what these bar diagrams are showing us.